daughter had a son. I had to break out.
Give me a ticket for an airplane. Ain't got time to take that fastest train. Lonely days are gone. I'm going home. My baby just wrote me a letter.
Hola mis amigos, hoy me encuentro con el super actor David Oyelowo. ¿Cómo estás? Did I pronounce it okay?
You did very well.
How would you pronounce it?
Oyelowo.
Oyelowo.
Yes.
It sounds so much nicer with an accent though. Well, welcome to Miami. Have you been able to enjoy the Miami sunshine at all?
Not really. I'm here very briefly, so I won't get to see as much of it as I would like.
Well, you're gonna have to come back one. Well, talk to me a little bit about this film, Captive. Not only are you starring in it, you're also producing this film.
Yeah.
It's, 10 years since this shooting this year. And it's one of those stories that I think we recalled once we watched it.
Right.
It was a very big deal back then. Why do you decide to produce this film?
I wanted to produce it because I think it's an incredibly powerful story. I'm very inspired by what Ashley Smith went on to make of her life beyond this event. You know, she was a meth addict at the point where Brian Nichols took her hostage, on a downward spiral in her own life, and somehow this very dark event inspired her to grasp the second chance that was given to her after this event. I'm very inspired by that. I also feel like there's a version of this film that is a very sort of movie of the week, kind of a preachy version, and I didn't want it to be that. The story is so inspiring. I think everyone can walk away from this story and really look at their own lives and look at where there is room for redemption, room for forgiveness, room for hope in their own lives, because that's what the film and the story illustrates to me.
Absolutely. Well, I have to ask, were you able to speak to Brian Nichols? You mentioned Ashley. Were you able to speak to her, some of the families of the survivors, to do this film?
I spoke to some of the survivors, not Brian himself, because he's serving multiple life sentences and isn't allowed interaction with someone like me, but I did meet Candy Wilhelm, who's the widow of the customs officer that Brian murdered. I've met his mother now as well. And Ashley Smith was the primary person I interacted with. I had a lot of time with her. She was on set with us while we shot the film as well. It was very important to me that we are respectful about the story, because there are lives that are still being impacted in a negative way by what he did that day. So, we wanted to be very careful with that.
I think you did an excellent job. Now, this book, The Purpose-Driven Life, you had read this book before you even knew of the story, is that correct?
That's right.
Why did you read this book? You just decided to pick it up one day? Life.
Well, when it first came out, it was a best-selling book.
Correct,
I mean, millions and millions of people read the book. I was one of them.
Interested in it.
And
yes.
the book to me just was a book about purpose, about how God's purpose for your life is so much bigger than that which you see for yourself. And that's why, having been inspired by the book when I read it, and then this event really illustrated that fact. Ashley Smith, there's no way, this woman is going on to have a film made about her life, in 2005. And yet that incident was so miraculous in a sense that here we are, the event is worthy of a filmic treatment, but also, the choices she's gone on to make since has helped thousands of people who are also captive to the drug that she was.
That's true. And now, do you believe in second chances? Because I believe this film, that's one of those underlying messages, that there's always a second chance, whether it's to better yourself, or whether it is to turn yourself in and just do the right thing at that moment. Do you believe in second chances?
I believe in second chances, and that's why I wanted to make the film. I feel like it's about the power of the second chance. It's about the fact that no one is beyond redemption. Even Brian Nichols on that day, he could have gone on to kill Ashley Smith and then committed committed suicide by cop, and he didn't. He stopped. He killed 4 people that day, and he is serving the requisite punishment for what he did. But even he turned a corner, you know, rather than go even deeper down this hole that he was going into. But Ashley Smith, in particular, really seized her second chance. And I think that we've all made mistakes. We've all done things that we're not particularly proud of. And sometimes, like Ashley, because she said to me that on that day she felt that the reason Brian had broken into her apartment is it was God's way of saying, you've messed up too much, you deserve death. And actually it was the point beyond which she got her second chance. And so I think all of us can take something from that.
Well, yeah, I never make mistakes. I'm always perfect. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
thought that the minute you walked in. I thought
noticed, right?
She is the exception to the
Yeah,
rule.
absolutely. No chance at all.
I want to make sure I got there safe.
How do you get into the mind of a killer? Because you did such a, you're an excellent actor. I mean, Selma, let me mention it a minute. You're amazing as an actor, inspirational even. How do you get into the mindset of a killer like Brian Nichols?
Well, it has to cost you, basically. I mean, you have to shelve yourself and try and understand why someone like Brian does or did what he did. And it's painful because, you know, to put yourself in that place, especially if you are, or you like to think you're the opposite of someone like Brian Nichols, you can't afford to judge your character, otherwise you would not be doing a truthful depiction of them. So, you know, at the end of the shoot, I could feel I'd left a little bit of myself behind because, again, you know, to do what he did requires going to some pretty dark places, and you've got to entertain that in order to be able to portray it truthfully.
I think you did an excellent job, and again, wonderful actor. Thank you so much for being with us. And if I could have, I want to try to pronounce your name correctly before I go.
Yeah.
So it's David
Oyelowo.
Oyelowo.
Yes, I like it with your accent.
There you go. You always like what, you know, what the other person has. So David, thank you so much. Oyelowo, muchas gracias.
If you want to know why you were placed on this planet, you must begin with God. He expects you to make the most of what you have been given.
I haven't been given anything.
You have a son.
Christopher, it's your daddy. You're gonna hear some bad things about me. Whatever happens, I love you, little man.
The greatest tragedy is not death, but life without purpose.
Stand up! Could you forgive me?
I don't know, but maybe God can.